Welcome back, everybody. It's February 9th today, I think. February 9th, Tuesday. For some reason, the T's and the just kind of got jumbled up there for a minute. But welcome back to the Paul Rodriguez Show, steadily out of Studio 44. For those who don't know, we just want to say RIP to Marty Schottenheimer, the longtime coach who served 21 years in the NFL as a head coach. Just kind of that broke this morning, a little bit sombering. Just after the celebration that we had celebrating the Patriots, the Buccaneers for it is laughable, James, for celebrating the Buccaneers, even though they're probably Patriots 2.0. Rest in peace to Marty Schottenheimer. Our condolences to your family and friends. He will be missed. I remember him walking up those sidelines in Kansas City and for the Chargers when they were in San Diego. So his son, I think, is now a coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. I'm pretty sure tough time for him. Let's move forward. Let's celebrate the Hall of Fame class of 2021. Those Dallas Cowboys are going to be represented in this class as well. And when we get to his name, you'll go ahead and probably recognize it. But leading off, Peyton Manning joining the conversation for Pro Football Hall of Fame induction, first ballot Hall of Famer. Does that surprise you, James? I mean, some folks say that it took 13 seconds to make that decision, and I'm like, you probably just should have read his name, and then that was it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Also, that man, Charles Woodson, Calvin Johnson, Megatron, John Lynch, very fitting to have a Buccaneer when the Super Bowl is kind of hosted in there. Alan Faneca, Alan's my age, so shout out to Alan getting in the mix for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Legendary coach Tom Flores, who coached the Raiders, and then Drew Pearson, that Dallas Cowboy, famous for his little end zone dance. And then Bill Nunn, who got in as a contributor. Shout out to the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2021. Does Charles Woodson or Calvin Johnson surprise you? Maybe John Lynch. Do any of those guys surprise you? You remember watching Lynch when he played with Tampa in that Super Bowl?
That was with the what Barber was it? Back when they won, right? He was on the team.
Rondé Barber, because Tiki was the crybaby in New York. That's kind of the only reason I say crybaby is because I think when Tom Coughlin came in, those guys, those veterans, were not keen on having a hard edge coach come in and kind of take the team by the reins and kind of tell them how they're going to be professionals. They probably hadn't learned that then. And then what did they do after that? They go win a couple of Super Bowls when Tiki goes off and does media. But with that being said, congratulations to the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2021. Fun to see that. More headlines in the news, something that broke later on in the day. We'll get to your Cowboys talk here in a little bit, folks. But was it surprising to hear not only did Russell Wilson call a press conference, but he had an interview with Dan Patrick on his show about, him potentially being available for a trade. And then after that conversation, he had a press conference scheduled to talk about he wasn't happy with the O-line play. He's not happy with getting hit. He's not happy with maybe the way things are being run in Seattle at the time. And it was interesting. I don't know if you noticed it, but I noticed him and Roger Goodell alongside Ciara, his wife, they were having a conversation in the press box at the Super Bowl. And whenever I see superstars and their wives and they're having this kind of discussion that's very public, something's probably coming down the pike. And I'm sure Roger said, hey, let's go ahead and let the Super Bowl play out. Let the celebration happen for Monday. And then Tuesday, you can kind of let your grievances air out about the Seahawks. We really don't see that a lot from the Pacific Northwest. Everything's pretty just go with the flow. Russell's usually pretty happy. But I think what Russell's seeing now with these quarterbacks being able to kind of throw their weight around, so to speak, kind of throw that contract weight around. And now he's like, look, you got Deshaun unhappy. You got Carson Wentz being, dealt. Dak Prescott's not happy. Matt Stafford got his way to go to Los Angeles. I'm pretty sure he's looking at those West Coast teams and he's like, San Francisco needs a quarterback. I mean, the Patriots need a quarterback. Indianapolis needs a quarterback. And he's like, if y'all aren't going to make me happy, I'm sure these teams over here will be making me happy. So with that news coming out, do you see Russell getting leverage for more control maybe in the front office, or do you think this is like a contract power play?
I think as the players as they age on and stuff, I think it's less about the contract situation, and I think it's more about what they want as far as what's going to take them to the Super Bowl, because we all know it takes a lot to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think as they grow older, it's less about the money, more about the championships, because you've already been paid, out the ass when you've been in the league for so many years. And Russell Wilson, he's an elite quarterback. He was in the MVP conversation earlier on this season. I think about maybe a quarter, maybe halfway through, he was playing phenomenal, and I'm not sure what happened there, but I mean, I don't know. Just don't ask Brett Favre about the situation. I guess.
Apparently Brett Favre's trying to cure CTE now. He's trying to be a partner with some type of venture to put more money and research to find out what really causes CTE. And I'm like, good luck with that, Brett. I mean, I know you were an Iron Man. The guy rarely missed a game, but at the same time, I wonder if this venture was before or after his comments about Deshaun Watson, and if they were after. I'm pretty sure this is a PR campaign to fix that. But getting back to Deshaun, I think this is more of a power play, or maybe pent up frustration with Pete Carroll whenever they lost that Super Bowl a few years ago to the Patriots. And so I wonder if he may know Pete may be on his way out just due to age, or if maybe this will probably be his way to say, you guys need to do what's right in the draft, or when my contract comes up, I'm going to hold it against y'all. I'm not sure how this is going to play out in Seattle, but Russell is not happy. And then that coupled with all the other drama going on right now with other quarterbacks, the leading news right now is Dak Prescott in Dallas. Apparently a deal's not going to get done. So I don't know if you noticed, but yesterday a hype video for the Dallas Cowboys was dropped. And in that hype video was everybody except one football player. Guess who that player was?
Good old Dak.
Dak Prescott was left out.
Wow.
Either purposely or subconsciously. And I hate to speculate, but that's what we do on these shows. And my speculation is this was Jerry Jones being the ultimate petty human being that he could, so that he could contain leverage over Dak Prescott in this contract.
It's got to be.
It has to be, because that's the only thing. You got players in that video that you see on special teams. These guys are not the face of the Dallas Cowboys. And if you're going to tell me that Ezekiel Elliott and CeeDee Lamb are the guys who are the face, you are sadly mistaken.
What quarterback did they have in there? I know they had
Troy Aikman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they had Troy Aikman in there. They had Emmitt Smith in there also. So you kind of think about I'm pretty sure Romo probably would have been a stretch. They were like, we can't put Romo in here. I bet Jerry wanted to, though. What about my boy Romo? No, that's not happening, Jerry. I hope with this being out now, makes the Cowboys fans a little bit more upset if they really are Dak Prescott fans or if they're Cowboy fans. Because what it seems to me right now with Jerry is that Jerry has said, I like Dak Prescott. I may love Dak Prescott, but I love the Dallas Cowboys a lot more than I love any one player. And I think that's what he's showing the world right now by this video, because these teams, multi-billion-dollar organizations, don't make a faux pas. They don't make a little mistake. They make mistakes on purpose. So Dak thought it would be interesting to go ahead and go like the Washington football team's Instagram page for a moment or two, and then kind of take that back just as a tick for tat, get back game at Jerry Jones. So it's like, if you want to play that pettiness game, we can play the pettiness game with the historical rival for the Dallas Cowboys being the Washington football teams, formerly the Redskins. I don't know, James. I see the big pettiness back and forth, and all I think to myself is on March 9th, that's the day that Dak Prescott has to approve his franchise tag number, which is probably going to be around $38, $39 million per year. Does Dak Does he say yes or does he just walk? That's because that's what's really on the table. Because if Dak doesn't say yes to that franchise tag, he doesn't have a job. He'll be a free agent until the new league year starts. What do you think happens?
Man, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. They need to. It's crazy because he was in contract disputes before.
This has been going on. This has been going on for 3 years.
So that's why seeing him so emotional when he got carted off, it was because everybody knew it. They're like, oh boy, here we go.
So now Dak Prescott is potentially damaged goods.
Yep.
If you're looking at this realistically, if you're looking at through these Dallas Cowboy fans, these zombie fans, they're not looking at it like they're like, we need to do it for Dak. Jerry needs to do it for Dak, and it's like, yeah. You can pay Dak $40 million a year, and then you're not going to have Ezekiel Elliott. You're not going to have an offensive line who's worth a damn. You're probably only going to have CD. You're going to have to get rid of Amari and probably Gallup. What do you do then? That's what really is going on right now. Or Dak Prescott takes a 10-year deal, probably averaging $40 million a year, $45 million a year, but it's going to be probably backloaded with all the money coming in the later years. And less money in the front of the years of that contract, rather.
I wouldn't let him walk if I was.
It's not up to him. Yeah, it's up to Dak. Dak has to say, "I'm going to accept your franchise tender for the second time." And they can do another. It's not called a franchise tag, but there's another tag they can place next year, and of course the money grows. And then that's it. There's 3 tags.
So the franchise tag is there like, okay, we can't figure out nothing now.
We can't agree on a contract. Okay. And we can only tag one player. And the contract, the salary, the contract amount is going to be the combination of the top of the market. And it's an average of those contracts. And so the average of those top 5 contracts comes out to about $38 million for Dak. So if he likes that number, it's like, what do? Do you go play for $38 million? Last year he played for $31 million. He played what? 8 games? Played roughly half the year. Literally broke his lower leg, like in multiple places. Do you want to go do that again? How much confidence are you going to have in you're going to have confidence in your guys, in your coaches, yes. But you're not going to have any faith that contract's going to be done until the following year.
Yeah, and then you weigh out the other option. Of course, if another team chooses to pick you up to go to another team, new coaching staff, new system.
But that's what I think what Dak wants. Dak wants to go somewhere where they want him.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing is like, that's why Dak's like, I'll go test the market. Let me go test the market. But Jerry's like, well, I don't want you to go test the market. Let me pay you $38 million. It's like, I like you enough to keep you around, but I don't like you enough to put a ring on it. And that's the issue right now.
Yeah.
All right, folks, let's get to a break real quick. When we come back, we'll talk maybe a little bit more Dallas Cowboys. Not too much news in the recruiting right now. We'll probably pick that back up tomorrow. But producer James on the boards in studio. What are we gonna leave the people with before we go to break, James?
Green Bay Packers Super Bowl 2022.
2021 season?
Yeah.
Aaron repeat as MVP?
Yeah, of course.
Ooh, that's Tom Brady's out there listening to that. All right, we'll be back. Breaking news into Studio 44. Producer James coming to me right off the Facebook comments. High drama in the lanes. There was a response by Tom Cruise of Pops and Shots on the prognostication of the Super Bowl this past Sunday. Apparently, the Pop and Shots minions have spoken and are backing their guy, Tom Cruise, in a stance that is unwavering against the Paul Rodriguez Show and Papa Romeo. Apparently, it was stated on their show prior to us airing last Friday night about the score that I was unaware of. Now, with that being said, there's no beef. Hashtag no beef by Tom Cruise. No, Tom, there is no beef. But there has been a line drawn in the sand by your minions. And we will have them addressed on a later show, maybe a crossover show. But with that being said, I want it to be known that no intellectual property was stolen or taken by either sides from my point of view, because we were unaware of your show as you were unaware of ours until yesterday. Now, with that being said, I want the response for our fans to be known what was said by Tom Cruise. So go ahead, James. Producer James is going to read that out loud for the transparency to occur between the two groups or teams. Or we're on teams now? Yeah, we're on teams.
Team 44. So, quote, at the 26-minute mark.
So this is Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he went ahead and just put it out there, let everyone know what was going on. He said at the 26-minute mark, I get called out, and this is of course from last night's show. No disrespect, but I hadn't even heard of this show until I was on Dark Side last week. Maybe Papa Romeo listened to Pops and Shots last Monday when I first put my prediction out. Let's get another crossover and clear this up. Hashtag keep it kayfabe. Hashtag no beef.
And my response is, you name the date and you name the time, and we'll show up and get this all cleared up. But as for now, I'm sticking to my guns and I'm backing my guy. And I know your minions, if that's what you call them, because I haven't heard what you call them, they're going to back you. With all that being said, James, do we just merely have a case of misunderstanding, or is there some potential beef lingering underneath?
Pure coincidence.
I think it's a coincidence,
in my
also.
Opinion. Yeah.
What's so funny, James? Hey, say goodnight to the bad guy, okay?
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Facebook guy because I can't respond. Like, I don't know. I just don't have the time. I don't have the energy. But I was unaware that Tom put that out. So Tom, if you see me on Facebook or I see you, I'll throw a like your way, buddy. But
it is crazy that they gave the same exact
it's so
score.
coincidental,
Yeah.
man. Because when I was watching y'all's show that night, I saw and Tom strikes me as a real laid back dude whenever I watch him on a show, and I'm pretty sure that's the way he is in real life. But man, whenever he dropped that spot, I was like, whoa, like there's just no way that's so coincidental. And I'm pretty sure that's really what it was. And so just to kind of have those two scores randomly, shouted out like that. And I just thought it was crazy. So I wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit. This wasn't set up to kind of create a little drama, but we decided we would run with it a little bit and see if, apparently it's riled some people up on Tom's line. So I just, you can't be mad at those folks. Like they're backing their guy. So, you got to be all respect, no doubt about it. But I'm sure it'll be fun to do a little crossover with them and kind of just discuss that instance. But I don't know if we'll get as dramatic as Jason and Gabriel over their fantasy incident like we talked about last night.
Maybe we can throw some hot wings in there and then clear it up.
I don't know. Apparently, Tom ran off after he had his hot wing. I don't know. Where did he go?
To the kitchen to get some water.
Get some water.
It looked like. Then again, he did put like a pretty thick line on his wings.
Yeah,
so.
I think everybody just put like a dab, and he sauced it up, right?
Yeah,
that's what it looked like. Maybe I should do that challenge too. But I was thinking about doing that challenge, but I want to have them like saucy. Like I don't want just a touch, or I want them to be coated in that spice.
So I was thinking of taking the bottle to the wing place where I got them and being like, hey, we're doing this thing, you know, tonight. We'll shout you out, whatever. Even though I did. And just be like, toss them in the sauce, please. But I was like, I didn't want to fuck myself.
But I have a bowl. Like I can, you know, well, Fat Boy got skills, man. I'm just let you know in the kitchen, man. I ain't get this way by eating salads. I'm just saying. I'm looking forward to this off season. I'm looking forward to the draft being next. The new league year starting in March. So there's going to be a lot of fun stuff to talk about. I'm pretty sure if we have this crossover show with Pops and Shots with Jason, Gabriel, and Tom, I'm sure it'll be really fun. They look like they're willing to have a good time, as am I. But yeah, guys, all respect between the two camps. There's no beef. I like the way those guys were talking about their product, and you know, I'm really confident in my product. So just wanted to say all love to both camps, and we'll be in touch soon, and we'll see if we can get something squared away. Little bit of recruiting news. We had just one offer that kind of came in today. Connor Robertson, you've heard the name a lot. He picked up an offer from USC out of California. So he's still, you know, garnering up those offers for a lot of big-time schools. That was the only thing notable to kind of pass along. Shout out to Flex ATX. I'm going to be doing their show on Thursday at 9 p.m. on the Horn 104.9. If you're in the Austin area, or you can get on I think they're on the iHeart app, 104.9 at 9 p.m. I'll be doing my rundown of all the recruiting news in the Austin area, just to kind of give the shout out for the young people online, and shout out Snoop and you know, all the boys out there. Fun time to see all of y'all. But let's get things back online. Let's take a break real quick. About 30 minutes past the hour, we'll reload, come back, finish up the rest of the show. We'll be back. Welcome back, y'all. Is your blood boiling like mine boiling? I know one person out there probably is. Shout out Papa Romeo. He sent me a photo, and it was about the Super Bowl ratings and how they've been low, the lowest level since '69. I think last year there was 102 or 4 million people who watched, and I think this year was like 96 million, which is still a lot. I mean, that kind of blows all major sports out of the water. COVID, pandemic, probably more social justice aspects of people kind of not watching. But still, with 94 million people, the commercials were weak. And I just thought that the funniest commercial for me that I kind of saw, and James, you tell me you the one that you thought was the most funny. For me, it was the E-Trade. When the dude's watching that lady wrestler and he starts like trying to work out with the paint cans, you just kind of go back to that little, I thought of Little Giants. That's the first thing that kind of popped in my brain. When I saw that little kid trying to train like that, I was just like dying laughing about how, little and scrawny he was. And then, he's trying to like get at the end of these, looks in his arm in the mirror and looked like grew like a centimeter.
Yeah.
But it was fun. The commercials were pretty weak and you saw a lot of repeat, and CBS, it looked like CBS was kind of doing the most advertising with their Paramount network. What was one of the commercials that stood out to you?
I like the Dorito I think it was Doritos 3D with
McConaughey.
Yeah, I like that one. And then also I think it was the Cheetos with Shaggy and Ashton Kutcher.
Oh, and Mila Kunis. Yeah, that one was fun. I forgot about that one until now.
Just because that took me back to growing up, and hearing Shaggy, and also me and my girl are always making fun of that song and stuff.
So how old were you when that song came out?
Dude, I want to say I was in.
You had to have been either at 8th grade or
I want to say I was in junior high. Yeah,
because I was a senior in high school.
Yeah. So
that sounds about the time, that 2002, 2003 time frame. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. It's funny because he hearing that song, it's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. It wasn't me, even though all of the proof is there. And then so, he's like telling Mila Kunis to say all of this stuff, and then she's like, it wasn't me, and he's like, oh okay, and then he's like, that's the first time that's ever worked.
Yeah, right. I just thought it was really. I didn't see a really big. I always like the Budweiser commercials. I don't drink beer, but I always like that just nostalgic. Clyde, or is it a Clydesdale? Yeah. The nostalgic Clydesdales kind of and then they put a little Dalmatian in the mix, or they do something fun, super Americana. I was just like, man, I was let down with them, and then.
They had said before they weren't going to do a Super Bowl ad.
Yeah,
but I noticed Bud Light right off the bat.
So what did Bud Light do?
They had celebrities. I think they had Post Malone. That's really only the one I remember. But there was like a Bud Light truck on its way to deliver, I guess, and it spilled over, and there was all these cans, and they had like a bunch of cameos come together, like out of like a portal, like, oh, we gotta save this Bud Light thing. I forgot what they called them. They called
Legends.
Bud Light Legends, I think. Yeah. So they cleaned it up, and then they had that dude that he's like a knight, but he has Bud Light armor.
Yeah, I don't know what that guy's called.
So he flipped over the truck, and then they're like, "Hey, thanks," and they high five him, and he flies over the cliff, and he's like, "Ah!" And then they're like, "Oh, okay, on your way." And
is it like in the castle setting still?
No, it's like in the woods.
Oh, it's in the woods.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Papa Romeo's over there acting. All kinds of he's having a good time watching the show right now. He's sending me messages. Man, I still kind of go back to that Super Bowl game, and I'm really thinking about what the hell did KC just not do right, and they didn't do anything right that whole game, man. And so I kind of always go back. I think about that kind of just throughout the day, just randomly as it like pops in my brain. I'm like, did they just really just like blow it? And just throw up a goose egg, and they did, man. Like, you really didn't think they would do that or had that in them. And Tom Brady just does what he does, and I was just pretty upset with. I was really upset with the officiating. Like we talked about that yesterday. Just like highly questionable calls at very unopportune times, and just destroying drives for them or turnovers. And what were for you? Did you feel like Kansas City still had an opportunity in that fourth quarter like they did last year?
No.
You really felt it was over?
I think it was like at like midpoint. I think I said yesterday, midpoint through the third quarter. I was like, they look physically beat, or like they look morally beat.
Yeah.
Like they look like they just want to go home. Like they've had enough.
Like they had just been whipped already.
Yeah, and there was points, and me as a fan, I've seen some shit, but I'm like, at one point I'm like, all right, this is over, dude. Like you would like a miracle comeback because I want to see a good game. These are neither of my teams, so in the end, I want to see a good game, but. I mean, it wasn't gonna happen. Like, yeah, Mahomes ran for like 500 and something yards. They said after the line.
Yeah, it was like 497 yards. Yeah. Like without really gaining a yard. It's like you're running for your life, five football links, practically 5 football links, and you have no production for it. You have nothing to show for it. And then, did you watch any of the post interviews, like Mahomes post interview?
No.
So props to Mahomes for going through that ordeal and not handling it like Cam did. Cam was still immature, even though they were probably about the same age whenever they went through it. But Mahomes just gave the just cliche answers like, I didn't do enough, we didn't do enough, we'll do better next time, we'll be back. They were the better team, blah 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 blah. But his body language was what was talking to me, and he just looked so. He looked upset to the point where he wasn't mad. I don't think he was mad at like himself or his production. It more of looked at like he was frustrated with the performance of his teammates. That's what really looked frustrating, because he just had this like, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to get out of here. Like, I need to go somewhere else because I don't want to be here right now. And usually when the quarterback knows it's your fault, he'll be a stand-up guy, but he looked slouched, he looked agitated, he looked frustrated. Granted, he lost, but his body language was just telling me like, all of you suckers just lost it for us. Like, y'all couldn't catch a ball, you couldn't get first downs, you couldn't block anybody. What the hell am I supposed to do? He literally was Superman. He literally was flying sideways, throwing a touchdown pass that went through the hands of a receiver and hit him in the face mask. I mean, he was literally Superman and still couldn't get the job done.
So, like you said, let down in his team. How do you go? They lost how many? One game during the season?
He lost one start.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you go from having that phenomenal of a season to now like laying this egg in the Super Bowl? Granted, they had some injuries on the line, right?
Yeah.
Was it like two guys?
So they're starting right tackle. He's a Canadian. He's a doctor. He's a medical doctor. He stayed in Canada to fight COVID and treat people up there. He took a moral stand for COVID, opting out. Okay, fine. But then their other tackle, Eric Fisher.
Stayed the whole season. He stayed, or was that just as of late?
No. He never came to Kansas City. He stayed in Canada.
Oh, okay.
That's something Tardif.
Okay.
But Eric Fisher, their other tackle, he was there the whole year. But in that championship game against, who did they play?
The Bills.
Yeah, the Bills. Thank you. Whenever they played the Bills, he snapped his Achilles. Eric Fisher snapped his Achilles. So now you're down 2 starting tackles, and you got guys. They're mixing and moving all these pieces around, and you're going to go up against probably the highest pressure defense in the whole NFL with a very experienced defensive coordinator who's very creative, and you got animals on that other side of the ball. Like Shaq Barrett and JPP are just monsters.
Yes. And
then you got 2 linebackers who can run 4.4s, not 4.49. Not 4.45, 4.42, 6 foot 250, running 4.4s. I mean, it's just stupid. And then you got 2 safeties that all they got to do is stay back, and they did. They did their job. They pressured for 4 quarters, and they held Kansas City in check. I mean, and that body language from Mahomes is really what kind of stuck out to me when I watched that the post interviews after the game with him. And then with, the other thing going on with Andy Reid's son, how much of that was a distraction that nobody really talked about? Your family goes out to all those who are involved, and, you hope for everybody to be in the best health possible. But if you know the facts, you know that's not the case. But that was obviously a distraction for somebody. So now I don't want to get into it. I don't want to talk about it just because I don't know the facts yet, because it's still kind of ongoing. But it had to play a part. It had to have. In some way, some fashion, it caused a distraction. But moving forward, you're going to have to know, like, you're going to have some insurance on that offensive line. And I really hope Mahomes goes and takes all his receivers who are going to be on the team next year. As soon as they get through the draft and as soon as they get into summer workouts, if you're not training the whole summer, what the hell are you doing? If you want to be the next GOAT, you're going to have to do what Tom Brady does and figure it out. Because Tom ain't going anywhere until he wants to go. That's what we're seeing, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Made it clear he was, they'll be back and not be back just to compete. They're going to the Super Bowl. He made it clear.
How the hell do you think those Patriot fans feel right now?
I actually know a couple of them, and they're like happy for Tom Brady, which, I mean.
Is that do you think that's superficial or you think that's real?
Just based off my experience, like if Aaron Rodgers were to go somewhere else, I would legit, like at this point, I would be happy for him. And that's just on my, based on what he's been through in Green Bay with the lack of handling a potential GOAT like Aaron Rodgers. Like I've said, like minus the championships, Aaron Rodgers, but like you can't, in my opinion, you can't have a GOAT conversation. You got to have the hardware to back it up always, and that's the difference, because Rodgers is phenomenal, but for whatever reason, you can't just. I mean, there's no conversation when talking about the GOAT in NFL football. It's Tom Brady.
I got a question when we come back from this break.
Okay. I
got a question about Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to tease it real quick. Aaron Rodgers plays until he's 43 or 42 with Green Bay. That means he'll be there 5 more years. And in those 5 years, he wins 3 more rings. And when we come back from this break, I'm going to ask James how he feels about my last question. We'll be back. Welcome back, everybody. We're here in the last segment of the Paul Rodriguez Show. Out of Studio 44, producer James. We left him with a question and regarding Aaron Rodgers playing 5 more years, 4 more rings. And with that being said, if Aaron Rodgers has 6 rings or 5 rings and he leaves and goes to play for, I don't know, let's say the Miami Dolphins, a Florida team, just because Trevor Lawrence will probably be there with Urban Meyer in Jacksonville. And he goes out and he wins the title the first year with Miami after the previous year he let you down in the divisional round of the NFC Championship. Are you going to feel just as proud as those Boston fans feel about Tom? Or do you think it's just going to be like, I can't wish ill on Aaron Rodgers, and you deep down inside have this angst that the ownership or the coach should have done what they needed to keep him? Because that's really what I think those Patriot fans feel. I think they have a uneasy feeling in the pit of their stomach that Tom Brady couldn't get it done with the Patriots. And all of those weapons are available in Tampa, but they couldn't be available in New England. Well, Aaron Rodgers had to have a whole lot of weapons for a whole lot of time during his Green Bay stint. And what if he goes to a team with a multitude of weapons? It's going to feel awfully, awfully drafty. If he has a couple more rings, and he goes to another team and gets one right off the bat with a ton of weapons. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, like, I can't, like, when Brett Favre left,
went to go cure CTE.
Yeah, or to send pictures of his genitals.
Whoa.
I just, like, I really didn't care for it because he had went to Minnesota. Or I think, did he go to the Jets first? Or was it?
No, he went to Minnesota first.
Yeah. So I was like, you asshole, dude.
Because it was in division?
Yeah. And then again, I was much younger. I'm glad they brought him back to Lambeau and squared everything away because he is, one of the all-time Lambeau greats. But I can't forget about, what a player has done. And I realize, they play for a team that I'm a fan for. But me personally, like, I mean, they're human. They got to take care of their families, whatever drives them to play, whether it be championships or if they're chasing a contract late in their career, whatever it may be, go ahead. I know he's played his heart out in Green Bay. So even after this season, like, there was talks of him. And I know he was pissed off. And after I was like, understandable. Even though he is such a great player that he is, I'm like, dude, if you want to leave, like, it's understandable, but I would hope that he wouldn't. You know what I mean?
But would that make you feel, see, the leaving part isn't the problem because the likeliness of him winning the Super Bowl was really low. And I think the Patriots had the same feelings like, well, if Tom has to go, Tom has to go. Well, Tom's got a ring now. And if Aaron went to Miami, this is just speculation, just hyperbole. If he went to another team, let's say the Dallas Cowboys, if they got a ring, now see how your body language and your emotions change.
Let's run that back real quick.
Yeah, well, what if he goes to the Dallas Cowboys and picks up that hardware? It's gonna feel a lot different, ain't it?
I'd be like, yeah, because I've been teasing Cowboys fans. Dude, they had to take Randall Cobb. Then they went for Mike McCarthy. I'm like, y'all are trying to be the Packers now. Like, y'all are literally pulling from our
2010 championship.
Players. Yeah. And, signing people over there. So maybe they're chasing the model because they've asked me, dude, like, how do you feel about Mike McCarthy? I like Mike McCarthy. He brought us a Super Bowl ring. Like, I did think, like, towards the end of his stint in Green Bay, he could have, he just wasn't the same for whatever reason, but, of course, you go to Cowboy, it's almost like how it used to be in Oakland. You go over there when you just want to end your career, That's what the Cowboys are becoming,
Well, there's a growing petition right now. A quick little factoid: there's a petition online that is just trying to get the NFL to give a fixed location for the Super Bowl, and they like to do it in Dallas because there's no chance in hell that Dallas would ever lose a home Super Bowl. So they haven't been to Super Bowl in 20-some plus years. So I think for the people out there who are spoofing that. They kind of want to have the neutral location to be Dallas so that, no home team will ever win a Super Bowl again. Did you catch that?
How often do they like? How many years ahead do they decide where the Super Bowl is?
I think it's 4 years. 4 years. Yeah, it's like 4 years ahead. So the 2025 Super Bowl, I think, is probably known, but before that, it's like it's not. I think the most latest one will be probably in Los Angeles. If I had to guess, with that new SoFi Stadium. Oh. That stadium's nice. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I mean, not physically, but like whenever they had the Los Angeles games there, you're kind of just asking yourself, this stadium is probably $7 billion and just empty. No concession, no fans, no gate, no tickets, no merch, no nothing. Ain't nobody selling no tacos, driving up to the stadium.
You think Jerry saw that stadium and was like, all right, we need to make some improvements?
I got to get myself a new stadium. I'm going to do it in Frisco this time. No, I don't know. But Jerry has been the model for growing business in the NFL, and so I believe Jerry wanted a team in Los Angeles. Well, he got two. They got a new stadium. It's a huge market, and I think he knows that. That's probably why he pushed for Los Angeles to move there from St. Louis, and then bring up the Chargers from San Diego to get both those teams in Los Angeles. But what a logistical nightmare for whoever's managing that facility to balance two teams like they do in New England or in the Meadowlands, rather. Yeah. Kind of wet my whistle real quick. Reloading on there. It's been a fun show, James. What are you looking forward to with the draft coming up? Do you think that there's a time where a weapon will be signed that's going to complement Aaron Rodgers, or do they need to kind of start piecing back together that offensive line to kind of help out Aaron maybe deeper in the playoffs?
Yeah, well, you had the injury to David Bakhtiari like right before the playoffs started, I was like, man, it showed, in my opinion, in the NFC Championship with JPP and the other guy rushing on the other side.
Shaq Barrett.
Yeah. So that's when it showed. When we played the Rams, I was like, it's, they got it. But, it's hard to replace a guy like Bakhtiari. I don't know. I'm thinking like free agency because, you got to draft. You can't expect a guy, in my opinion, to come. It happens, but it's not probable to a guy to come out of college and to have like so much of an impact on his first year as far as like wide receiver goes. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking they need to hit free agency, pretty good this off season because in my opinion, the time is now. We don't have time to waste.
I think it's time to trade Jordan Love already.
Yeah.
I think it's time to trade Jordan Love and get some draft picks for him because nobody's driving that car. Nobody. He will, as long as Aaron puts out these type of performances, you're just gonna keep that thing in the garage, and he's not gonna be successful unless he gets reps with the ones. And the way the quarterbacks are protected nowadays, you might as well get rid of him because he's not going to see the field for 5 or 6 years.
I didn't see him. I didn't hear from him. Nothing this year.
You didn't even see him on the sideline.
Nope. Not at all.
Probably granted because they had a mask or anything. But
yeah.
Dallas Cowboy fans, my hope for y'all is that you rebuild that offensive line. The offensive line. Hopefully you get that center out of Northwestern. But a lot of people are talking about either Patrick Surtain or the defensive back out of Virginia. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But I like Surtain out of the two. Surtain is a legacy. Like his pops played in the NFL. He played at a phenomenal school in Alabama, won national titles. Bring that guy, bring a dude, an alpha into that secondary because that's what they've been missing. Somebody who wants to win. You pair him with Diggs on the other side. You're going to have two starting Alabama defensive backs starting for the Dallas Cowboys. I think that would be the home run hit, but we'll kind of have to wait and see how things go with Dak's contract and with Jerry Jones making solid picks. Well, Stephen Jones, really, because he's the one kind of been, making up or picking up the slack with Jerry as Jerry's kind of gotten a little older, sitting back, drinking his Johnny Blue a little bit more, enjoying a Pepsi every now and then, making sure the Miller Lite trucks roll on point, Papa John's gets delivered. These are all the advertisers for the Dallas Cowboys. Y'all spend your money. Make me more money. Because that's all y'all are really doing right now. All right. What are we going to tease for Thursday? Because you're going to be gone tomorrow.
Yep.
Papa Romeo will be back in the business, run the boards. So what should people look forward to? Not to tomorrow's show, but you can say that afterwards. But what should they look forward to Thursday?
Well, tomorrow, Papa Romeo going to issue a response?
See, Papa Romeo is the type of guy, he don't need to leave a response. He just leaves it where it is. You make up your own mind about it.
Okay.
That's how Papa Romeo feels about it. He may say something. I don't know. I can't talk for him. But I'm just saying. That's a legend you don't want no beef with. I'm just going to leave it like that. You're just going to let it lay where it is. Yeah. But it's all good and fun. I like the guys over there. And shout out to Tom tuning in. We saw you. Somebody's driving up those numbers, right? Driving up those stream numbers. So shout out to all of y'all who are tuning in. We appreciate y'all. And the Papa Shop minions. I'm pretty sure they were dabbling in to see what's going on. But Thursday, what do you think's going on Thursday?
Thursday, I'm hoping for some big news.
Do you think Carson Wentz gets dealt tomorrow or Thursday before we get to the show?
Who knows? Stay tuned.
That was a riveting cold take by producer James. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back tomorrow. Papa Romeo joining the business back again. Tune in, see what he has to say or not say, because that's just the way the man rolls. We gone.